was close enough.
Can't wait to go.
I don't think it even made it into the 50s yesterday.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it depends on where you were at. Okay. Okay.
Wait, not yesterday. It was
Wait, how should I pay your rent?
No.
the day before.
I've been paying my rent. Rent was overdue last week.
Oh.
Yeah, what have you been paying?
Like
I'll pay
the
my-
whole one at a
That
time.
means you're not paying.
Oh, you're right.
Oh.
So.
That means I have 5 weeks till eviction.
No, girl.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do after school today.
Whoa, where'd you get that?
Oh, Dallas. Oh, Dallas.
I want you to actually.
Never mind, you're right there.
Where'd you get that?
Abby.
I got it as a gift.
Nadia. Isaiah.
Yep, you got it.
Lucas.
Right after school. God, I just love working there. I don't mind.
That's how it works.
I don't mind because
1,
you
2, 3,
choose
4,
plans.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I find myself in my dude. They
Lucas!
like you came for my ticket.
Didn't you watch him watch
Put
it?
those away.
Put those away while looking at me.
You have your ring off. You're not wearing it.
Gosh darn it. Okay.
My dad was.
You're lying.
Put my glasses away.
I've got sausage fingers. I'm sorry. Oops. Okay. Sorry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, grab a piece of scratch paper and yes, Jacqueline. Apparently not. They're all gone. So let me go see if there's any in the back.
Hey, talking about the Bible now. I was buying ties, and there was this one black.
Okay.
that said, yeah.
Write a formula and a name for the following compound, ladies and gentlemen.
That's me.
Although I don't really like silver.
It's cow.
Right? I like silver.
Yeah.
Oh, my computer gets dying. What do I dye my hair? Okay,
My mom keeps bullying me because of my roots. It's not okay. Stop.
okay.
You don't need to do this.
Can you like grab some of your hair?
Oh, Brindley, you just gave me the.
I don't
great- Sorry.
That's an eye.
Now we're talking about roots. For another culture to talk about something from the 1950s, and now I want to do dyed hair because that's kind of where it started picking up. Because like you were judged if you found out, if someone found out you dyed your hair, but there's a series of ads that were like you wouldn't even notice or whatever from like the 1950s or 60s after World War II, after the baby boom. And now I got to do my presentation on that now because we have to choose some specific product. Thank you. I know I sound insane.
You're welcome.
It's real. I got it.
Just saying you'd be judged in the 1950s for your hair.
I'd be judged in the 1950s for much
No,
more.
that's why I handed it to her, not you.
First of all, woman.
Woman.
You don't notice?
Second of all, I'd probably get Lavon.
Just like you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wait, what's with that outfit?
Wait.
Oh, like that.
Really?
Keep quiet.
You went.
You didn't know JFK sisters were Bahamas?
I was laughing at
KFK? Is that what you thought? I said KFK?
Yeah.
He kind of was.
He kind of was
I
right.
wasn't racist.
That one.
Racism prominent then.
Racism's always been prominent, girl.
I know, like in the 1950s, it was prominent.
Yeah.
Historians will say.
Yeah, I know it's prominent before that.
Which means I wouldn't be there.
I wouldn't either.
I would really be.
Are you telling me this
I literally
is
don't
is man?
I literally wouldn't need it. No, like,
Yeah.
That's no homicide for me.
I just know I just wouldn't.
Nothing wrong with that. You probably- Should I ask him? Do you think Mr. Brown would get mad?
She couldn't cook right. She can't.
Yeah, they didn't. Like, I'm.
Brindley, this is what I got wrong. And that's
Why does
right.
Garfield look?
And I got so right.
Yeah.
Oh, we had different tests. Oh yeah, everyone.
So, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Me and you had. Can I see?
All three of us had the same test. You had a different test.
Can I see?
Are you okay?
I want to see what I got.
All right, take a look at the answers, ladies and gentlemen. This is for Unit 5, Quiz 2, V1. If you had IBB up in the upper right-hand corner, this is the compound that you should have gotten. Yes. Are the 10 minutes up?
Oh, I got 15 out of 15.
Okay.
But then I got 3 out of it.
All right. So, 26.3 grams of potassium times the formula mass would have given you that many moles of it. 9.4 grams of nitrogen times the formula mass would give you that many moles of it. And 32.4 grams of oxygen times the formula mass would give you that many moles of it. 2 points for each of these conversions. 1 point for getting the answer, 1 point for knowing to divide by the smallest number, and 1 point for finding the ratios. The name was potassium nitrate. The formula was KNO3. It's amazing how many of you thought potassium actually had a formula of P for potassium. Not it. Down here, ladies and gentlemen, your substance was N2, nitrogen gas. You begin by getting it into liters. Now, whether you did this calculation or if you just did the math and started with it, you got a point. Then you take it times 1 mole over 22.4 liters. Molecules over moles, because that particle is a molecule. Matter of fact, it's a diatomic molecule. It's right in the name what kind of particle it is. And then 2 atoms per 1 mole. This number, in case you don't recognize it, ladies and gentlemen, is 3.55 times 10 to the 22nd power, and your unit was atoms of nitrogen. Questions on that version, ladies and gentlemen? If you had Unit 5, Quiz 2, V2, IDD, here are your answers, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we began with bromine, Br2. Started out in milliliters, got it into liters. From liters to moles, moles to molecules, molecules to atoms. 2.86 times 10 to the 22nd atoms of bromine. Our substance was composed of sodium, 26.0 grams times 1 mole over 22.98 grams. Gives you the moles of sodium. 40.1 grams of nitrogen. I'm sorry, that is chlorine. I have a wrong label here. I have the right number here. 1 mole over 35.45 grams of chlorine. Gives us 1.131. And finally, 54.3 grams of oxygen. 1 mole over 16 grams gave us 3.394. Divide through by the smallest number, 1.131. We get a ratio of 1 to 1 to 3. Formula of NaClO3, sodium chloride. Again, it was amazing how many people thought sodium symbol was a capital S. Questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Was there a test 1 point shorter?
Was there a test 1 point shorter?
Was there a test 1 point?
No, why?
Because those points add up to 19.
Huh.
Well, on our test, it does say
Oh.
7, not 6.
It just, yeah, sorry. It does say 7, not 6. And if you got full credit, I did give you 7 points for it. Yes, sorry. On the test, the points that I have listed on here are incorrect. Okay? So the points that I have listed on there are incorrect. So, questions? They're your quizzes to keep, ladies and gentlemen. Any problems that you can't do, you got till Friday to figure out how to do because they're going to be on the test. So, questions? Wonderful. Then, write me the name and the formula for this compound again, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go over it in just a second.
I'm turning around when you say my name. What kind of woman is that? That's all right.
Shoot.
I'm just going with it.
Great, now I forgot. I
Right,
turned around
this.
and you were so distracted.
I don't even know what I'm
Because that's not in scientific notation. Where's your final answer?
What would that be?
For what? What is this?
Like 2.86.
Which version do you have, Danielle?
JD, I think I wrote him.
Is it quiz 1 or quiz 2? Quiz 1, version A,
You should take
or
that
version B?
little, you should take that little mental test.
Quiz 2,
You might get
V1.
160s.
Is it IDA or IDB in the upper right-hand corner?
Let's get to it.
IDB, that answer should have been then 3.55 times 10 to the 22nd. If you're coming up with atoms, if you're coming up with particles, it's going to be an incredibly large number.
I have that.
Always. It's going to be some number to the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, somewhere in there.
I rolled really well with 5%. My lowest was 38. Highest was 69.
Okay.
68, 69. Oh, okay, that's cute. Even though he needs me.
He does.
Steven needs me.
All right, Declan, what's our formula?
It is CA.
Even in math class. Even in math class, I'm scared to do the word project to not cut I don't know how the word.
I should say parentheses, shouldn't I? I02. Or I parentheses, then 2 on that side, maybe?
So you want parentheses around it and then the 2 on the outside.
Yeah. No. I want the 2 right next to the O, and then a 2 on that side. That'll make it pretty. Just like your pink shirt, mister.
Okay, what I think he's trying to say is...
No, let him explain what he's trying to say, because I don't think I understand, so I don't know how you can. But okay, go ahead.
I02. Parentheses 2.
Okay, good. Because when we would write this, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we would get. I204. This is a polyatomic, ladies and gentlemen. If you look on the back of your sheet, every single polyatomic is written in lowest terms except for one. Find me the one that is not.
Dihydrogen phosphate.
What?
Dihydrogen phosphate.
Dihydrogen phosphate
Oh,
is in lowest terms.
Oh, never
There's
mind.
one by the P.
Oh, oxalate.
Oxalate. Oxalate is the only polyatomic, ladies and gentlemen, that is not reduced into lowest terms. C2O4. I will not give you a compound where you ever have to go up to the polyatomic formula. What I mean by that is any polyatomic that I give you, it will either be its formula or it will be some multiple of it. You will never have to take and a lower amount multiplying by a certain number. We don't do that with polyatomics. Okay? So since this polyatomic is I2O4, that means it can be reduced, ladies and gentlemen. And it gets reduced to IO2. Now, how many did you reduce it by? You reduced it by 2. When you reduce it by 2, then, ladies and gentlemen, it ends up being that is the number that goes outside of the parentheses. So whatever you're going to reduce it by, 2, 3, 4, however many it is, that is the number that goes outside the parentheses, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So since we reduced the 2 and the 4 by 2, that 2 goes out there. All right, name it. Name it, Marcus.
That would be calcium iodide. ITE.
Calcium iodide, ITE ending, absolutely correct. You will not find IO3 on the back or IO2 on the back of your periodic table. The closest you will find is IO3, which is iodate, ATE ending. This has lost one oxygen here, so it becomes the ITE ending. Very good. Questions, ladies and gentlemen. Again, first or second problem on your test is going to be something along this lines. Good. Do this one. So hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, you know by now that when we write out this formula originally, this would be N2H8S. Okay? Now, the question is, where is the polyatomic in this one? Where is the polyatomic at in this particular compound, Najma? The N and the H. The polyatomic is right here at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, and that is very unusual because there is only one polyatomic that begins a compound, and this happens to be it. Now, what is its normal formula? It is not N2H8, it is NH4. The reason this is N2H8 is because there are two of those groups. So when we reduce it, we put it in parentheses and that number goes outside. What do we do to the S here? We just leave it. Nothing. So now, ladies and gentlemen, all right, what is our formula here? What is our formula here, Sasha? Name this for me.
Oh.
I'm sorry, maybe I wasn't saying to name it. Sorry.
Is it ammonium sulfur? It would be sulfur ammonium sulfur.
It would be none of those.
Oh, okay.
It would be ammonium, yes. The sulfur is at the end, right?
Yeah.
In a compound, what happens to sulfur? What does it become? It becomes sulfide. Now, even though there is a polyatomic in here, we are ending with a lone element, sulfur. So that sulfur becomes sulfide, IDE, to let the world know that it is in a compound. Questions? Perfect. Last one. So here's another one, ladies and gentlemen. What is the problem with this one right now? What is the problem with this one the way it is written, Daniela? We have to multiply everything by 2 because of the 0.5 in here. So Daniela, what would be our formula when we multiply everything by 2? Come on. BA, sorry, that does not look very good. BA what, Danielle? I'm sorry. AS2 010. All right. AS2 010. Now, again, here is our polyatomic, ladies and gentlemen. I know that because it doesn't have the metal in it. And 90% of our polyatomics will be at the end of the compound. So when we have AS2 010, what can we do to this, ladies and gentlemen? We can reduce it, okay? And when we reduce it, what does AS2O10 become, Odalis? AS05. Correct. And the 2 goes outside of the parentheses. the Ba3 still goes in front. Now we have a balanced compound. Okay. So BaASO5. Rome, what would be the name of this compound?
Barium or acetate.
Barium per acetate. Nope, I'm sorry, not acetate. Sorry, what is it? Arsenate. Sorry. Sorry, my bad.
Edit that.
Yeah, I thought it was going crazy.
It just feels bad.
Dwayne gone, don't know.
I don't want to erase all, but we will.
Okay.
So, barium perarsenate, ladies and gentlemen. Why? We have added an oxygen here. There is one more oxygen than there was originally. Arsenate was ASO4. ASO5 is perarsenate. Questions? Okay. So, today, ladies and gentlemen, we have been taking and figuring out what the empirical formula is based off of the amount of each substance given to us. Now, when they're giving us the amount of substance, they're either giving it to us in what of two ways are they giving us the amount of each element in the compound? They're either giving us the what or the what. So in our problems, like the one on your quiz last week, Friday, what did I give you the amount of each element in? What?
Percent.
I gave it to you in a percent?
Did you? No.
But that's what I'm asking you. And since you have the quiz right in front of you, I was hoping maybe you could take a look at it and tell me what I gave it to you in.
Grams.
I gave it to you in grams. Now, there is another way I could have given it to you. What? Percents. Okay? Percents. I could have said it's 60% this, 20% this, 10% this, 10% that. Either way, I could have given it to you, and then we could take it, we could get the formula, correct? Good news. Today we're going to do the exact opposite. Today we're going to do the exact opposite. So, ladies and gentlemen, first thing I need from you, the first thing I need is a compound. Give me a compound. Make it a ternary ionic compound. Is that UMM or is it UM blank?
Beryllium chromate.
Beryllium chromate. Beryllium chromate. Which means the first thing we need to do with all of these all the time is to what? Write a formula. So what is the formula for beryllium chromate? Well, Be has a charge of +2, correct?
Yep.
Chromate is CrO4 and it has a charge of -2. So when we make a compound out of this, we have BeCrO4. Questions? Well, before we were finding what we called the empirical formula. Well, we already have the empirical formula. There it is. We know the formula. So today what we are going to do is we are going to find what is called percent composition, which is the exact opposite of what we've been doing. Now, can someone tell me what a percent is? What actually is a percent? And don't say some number that has a sign after it that has 2 O's and a slash in between.
Decimal.
What?
Decimal.
It doesn't have to be. A percent could be whole numbers.
Ratio.
A ratio. A ratio of what?
The amount of
Total.
a specific
The
part
total
of a
versus-
substance over the total amount of the substance.
Good. Good assist, the three of you together. A percentage is always a part out of the whole. Okay? So someone tell me what are the parts in that formula?
BE, 1CR.
Chromium and oxygen.
Beryllium, Be, Cr, chromium, and oxygen. The whole thing is beryllium chromate. Okay? So to find the percent composition, I need two things. I need the parts, and I need the whole. Well, let's take a look at what we use. All right, the part beryllium. How much is it?
There's one atom.
True, one atom. Okay, one atom, but okay, so I'm going to do one out of what then?
6 because there's 6 of them. There's 6 in total.
Okay, but is every one of them the same?
Chromium is very good.
Okay, so instead of using the number of them, I'm probably going to want to use the mass. What's the mass of beryllium?
9.01 grams per AM.
And there is one of them, correct? Okay, for chromium, there's one of them, and what is the mass?
51.99.
And for oxygen, there are 4 of them.
60.
So take 9.01 plus 51.99 plus 64. Anybody?
120.
Oh, that's really easy.
Very good. So the whole is 125.0 grams, correct? And here are the parts, correct? Okay, so let's find percent composition. Let's begin with the beryllium, Be. Well, we take the part, 9.01, divided by the whole, 125.0. Marcus, what can I do for you?
I was gonna say that, but can't say what it leads to.
Did you take it times 100?
Die. Do it times 100 in my head.
Okay, then tell me what the percent of beryllium in beryllium chromate is.
72%. Do you want me
Whoa!
to go with that?
How'd you get 72% of something that's 9 out of 125?
7%, 7.2%. I went up.
Ooh.
My King Marcus almost throws some.
Okay, good. By the way,
Testing you.
with these, ladies and gentlemen, is there anything in the problem to give us sig figs?
No.
No. Because we're doing percentages,
Can't say figure.
go to the 10th of a percent.
Okay.
Go to the 10th of a percent. So 7.2, perfect. Next, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the percent of chromium. Well, the percent of chromium is 51.99 grams out of 125.0 grams times 100, which gives us
41.6%.
perfect. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's finish with oxygen, which is 64.0 grams out of 125.0 grams times 100, which gives us 51.2%.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking.
Now, in the end, what should these numbers total up to be?
100.
Should. But because of rounding,
If it's like.
it may be slightly higher, 100.1, 100.2, something like that, or it may be slightly lower, 99.7, 99.8. Okay? It all depends on how many different components there are, and it depends on the rounding in the end, which is why I ask you to go to the tenths. It may not be perfectly 100.0%, but it should be close. This is the exact opposite of what we have been doing. Earlier, we were taking these percentages, we were working backwards, and we were figuring out what the formula was. Now we're taking the formula and figuring out what percentage of each thing there is in the compound. Questions? Okay, now let's go to the practice problem here. Okay, then I'll tell you a funny little story that my
Is it gonna be?
uh, my second hour talked to me about today, and I thought it was quite humorous.
Was it simply?
So here's the question. What is the percent composition of the elements in the compound magnesium nitrate? So this is the problem that we're going to do. Well, what is the first thing we have to be able to do to solve this problem? I'm sorry?
Identify the elements in the formula.
No, even before that. I guess that would be the kind of the same thing. But really what I need to do is do what?
Write the formula.
Thank you. I need to write the formula. Okay, I need to write the formula because without the formula I can't do anything. Which, oh my goodness, by the way, that means if you still can't write a formula, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? You're not getting any of these right. Okay? So, and the funny part was, my second hour literally asked me, well, Mr. Brand, you're going to give us the formulas, aren't you?
He's so
And
excited.
I said, no, hell no, I'm not giving you the formulas, but I will give you the names. Okay? So that was their first dumb question of the day. And you know, people say there are no dumb questions. To me, that was a dumb question. Okay? Now the second dumb question came when, okay, now we find out what the formula of magnesium nitrate is, MgNO3, parentheses, 2 outside of it. The next thing we need to do is calculate the formula mass. Well, their second dumb question of the day was, Mr. Brand, you're going to give us the formula mass, correct? Hell no, I'm not giving you the formula mass. You can calculate that yourself. You know how to do that. My gosh, if I did that, I might as well do the whole problem for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is 1 magnesium times 24.31. There are 2 nitrogens times 14.01. And someone asked me, why are there 2 of those, Mr. Brand? Well, because the 2 outside here distributes to the nitrogen and the oxygen, meaning there are 2 nitrogens in this compound. There are 6 oxygens in here, so that's why we're going to take 16 times 6, because 16 is the mass off of the periodic table. 6 is how many of them there are. So now to find the percent composition, you're going to take the mass of magnesium over the formula mass of the compound. For the percent of nitrogen, we're going to take the mass of nitrogen over the formula mass of the compound. And for the percent of oxygen, we're going to take the mass of oxygen times divided by the formula mass. By the way, what don't I have in here that we still have to do as well? Thank you. Times by 100 so that we get numbers that would be decimals like 0.86 to 86%. Very good. Thank you. So we're going to take the 24.31 divided by the 148.33 times 100. We get 16.4%. We're going to take the 28.02. If you're wondering where that came from, well, that was double 14.01 because there's 2 nitrogens in here. And we're going to divide it by the whole compound, which is 148.33 times 100 gives us 19.0%. We're then going to take 96.0 and divide it by 148.33 times 100. That gives us 64.7%. When we are all done there, ladies and gentlemen, that is our final answer. 16.4% magnesium, 19.0% nitrogen, and 64.7% oxygen, giving us a total of 100.1%. Which is absolutely fine that we are a little bit over 100 because of rounding and things of that nature. So questions, ladies and gentlemen? None? Zero, zip, zilch?
I had 100.
Okay, let's take a look at one more then. Can we move on from this, ladies and gentlemen, or do you still need to type something up?
Take your time.
Okay, thank you.
JJ saw me dragging on the curb the other day. This is a really tight turn. Something like that.
we good, ladies and gentlemen? Can we move on?
Uh-huh.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So our next problem, ladies and gentlemen. What is the percent composition of all of the elements in the compound aluminum sulfate? So again, it begins with writing a formula for aluminum sulfate. Aluminum sulfate is Al2SO4 in parentheses and then a 3 outside. Aluminum sulfate has a formula mass of 342.17. Now, how will you know if you calculate that wrong? Well, one of the ways you will know is if in the end your percentages don't equal out to be 100. If you have made a mistake on your calculating your formula mass, your percentages will not equal out to be 100. They will be either way too high or way too low. So that is a pretty good reminder that you would need to go back and check. What is this made up of? Well, it's made up of 2 aluminums at 26.98. It's made up of 3 sulfurs at 32.07. And it's made up of 12 oxygens at 16.0. That is what that total of 342.17 is made up of. So now, ladies and gentlemen, again, we're to find the percent of aluminum. We take the mass of aluminum divided by the formula mass of the compound. To find the percent of sulfur, we take the mass of sulfur divided by the mass of the compound. And to find the percent of oxygen, we take the mass of oxygen divided by the formula mass of the compound. Again, same number on the bottom of all 3 of these calculations. So 53.96 divided by 342.17 times 100 gives us 15.8%. Again, remember we doubled the aluminum because there are 2 in the compound. 96.21 is the mass of 3 of the sulfurs to account for the 3 of them in the compound when this 3 distributes out. Divided by the 342.17 times 100 gives us 28.1%. And for the oxygen, we have 192.0 divided by 342.17 times 100 gives us 56.1%. We total those up, and that's where we get 100. Now, again, there are no sig figs in this problem. Why? Because if you look up here, there wasn't a number in here. So all our numbers come from our masses on the periodic table and from how many of them there are in the compound, which is why for this calculation, I would go to the tenths and leave it at that. Questions, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. We had some difficulties over the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. The difficulty was that I assigned you a lab that was due at the end of the day on Friday. And of the 18 of you in this class, only 10 of you decided to turn it in on time. That is completely and or totally unacceptable and will not be tolerated from this point on. So I cut off the submissions for turning that lab in, meaning you can't turn it in unless I decide to turn it back on. And I will. At the end of the day tomorrow or during the day tomorrow, I will start re-accepting submissions for it, which means the 8 of you who didn't do it, you will have a chance to turn it in. But I'm also telling you that this is your last chance to turn something in late. Let me rephrase that. For the 10 of you who did it on time, thank you. I appreciate it. You did a nice job. And as a reward for turning your lab in on time from now on, you will have the opportunity to earn a grade higher than a C on that lab. If you choose to wait and turn your lab in late, you lose that opportunity of achieving a grade higher than a C. Now, a C is an average grade, ladies and gentlemen, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with a C in any class. But if you want the opportunity to earn something better than the average, you will turn your lab report in on time. And then you will have the chance of earning an A or a B. Now, if you do shoddy work, whether it is turned in on time or late, you will get the grade you get on it. So just because you're turning in late doesn't mean you're guaranteed of getting a C. Just because you're turning it in early doesn't mean you're guaranteed of an A or a B. But you will have the opportunity to earn something higher than a C by turning your assignment in on time. Now, in reality, in this class, this is the only assignment that I can do that to. Because if you miss on the day of a test, I will let you make up the test and I will give you full credit on it when you make it up. If you miss on a quiz, I will make it up with you at a later date and give you full credit on it. But I will not accept that on your lab reports from here on out. There's absolutely no reason you couldn't get it done and get it turned in, especially since there was time in class for you to do it. I'm also going to right now give you time in class to work on percent composition problems, to work on molecular formula problems, to work on empirical formula problems, and even to go back and work on simple mole conversion. And I would appreciate it, I would request, I would hope that you would take the time to work on those problems since they're going to be on your test on Friday. Now, I understand some of you are leaving early on Friday because of your event that you have scheduled. So if you wish to come in on Thursday and do your test before you leave, you are welcome to. If you do not want to do that, you are welcome to take the test on the Monday when we come back after spring break. So those are your options, ladies and gentlemen, because I plan to be done with the new material tomorrow, which means that you would be able to do it on Thursday. For the rest of you who are going to be here on Friday, Thursday will be another review day. I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like, you could actually, if you're going away on Friday, have a whole extra week to review, because then I would wait and give you the test on the Monday when you come back. So you would take advantage of having a lot of extra time to prepare for the test if you don't do it on Thursday. But it also means you're going to do it on that Monday when you come back. Yes, Brenda.
Is it on Thursday or Friday?
The test is actually on Friday.
Oh.
Are you going to be here on Friday?
Yeah.
Then you have nothing to worry about.
No, you just kept.
I know, I'm sorry it's confusing because the test is on Friday. There are a bunch of people who are going to New Orleans with a school trip and they're leaving at noon on Friday. So I'm giving them the option of coming in a day early and taking it on Thursday, or waiting until the Monday when they come back, but it will be given to them on the Monday that they come back. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? Questions? Yes? Do you have a problem because this is every single day in my class? Then quit drinking soda or pee before you get here. Okay? It's not a difficult thing. You're a young person. I'm sure your bladder can wait for 71 minutes. If it can't, please adjust your habits in other ways. Okay? Go to work, ladies and gentlemen. If there's something I can help you with, please let me know. Declan, you can go. But make an adjustment for Wednesday and Thursday of this week, please. Thank you, sir. Sasha, what's the matter? You're whining.
Supervising adult, how Brady did it.
They should be in your notes.
Every single one, every 36 hours and a half.
Well, come on up closer.
Even though they already have that.
Here's the other thing, Sasha. Because I don't have a seating chart, you could come and sit right up in the front of the room every day.
Shouldn't there be, presented notes?
Exactly, I don't remember what I did.
Should be in there. shouldn't it?
Whatever, I'm going up there.
That's fine.
I've already,
Cool.
I feel bad, because like.
I'm in the
I've
front
already
row
been
in math
down
class and I
this
still
route.
can't see what I'm doing.
But then like,
Glasses, but I
even
lost
the
them.
activities didn't really make sense because it said that.
That's not a good thing.
I know.
Sophomores need 5 points.
Gotta wait like a
But
whole year.
for every year.
I would have a hard time
doing
seeing the board if that were the
activities,
case. Yes, ma'am. What can I do for you?
Like the right,
Because I got a lot of things wrong.
I
but
only
don't
did
know.
2.
Is that the first quiz?
Yeah.
So does that mean I'm not allowed to go into NHS?
Why?
Can I see that for a second, please?
Does that count though? Because it's like we is it for your yeah. Well, I don't know. So wait, and then like this service hour thing is weird. You don't have enough? No, I have enough, but like I need
Okay.
to add every single time I do.
You realize what you did wrong on the first one,
Yeah, but
right?
that's for each semester. Well, since you're
You didn't multiply that by 2.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just worried about next year.
So therefore that made that
No,
wrong,
Like,
Which made my answer wrong.
which made your
Yeah.
answer wrong. So those are the points you lost. But you did write a good formula. Here, you forgot to take this this would come out in liters. You didn't
Oh,
convert
yeah.
it into milliliters. You just wrote the unit of milliliters. So you should have taken that times 1,000, and that would have been 1,430. So again, those were the 2 points, not doing that conversion, and then because of that, not getting the right answer.
Oh, so from this it would have been like another conversion to the.
Well, or just in the end, what you have to realize is this would have come out in the unit of liters,
Not milliliters.
not milliliters. Then you convert it into milliliters. Now, if you can do that in your head, I have absolutely no problem with you doing it in your head, but you got to make sure you get it. You got to make sure you actually convert the number. Okay?
How many hours did I have? How many hours can you remember?
Was
And
this
then
like a multiple step one?
This one, yeah.
I
So-
did a lot of different stuff.
The first thing you needed to do is get that out of grams
But like, how many do you remember?
and into moles
I know,
by
but
using
I know
formula
it's
mass.
7.5 hours.
You
But I
went
will have-
Straight
liters
into
and
it,
grams can't cancel here.
So wait.
So you can take this with you. You can look it over. You can rewrite it if you'd like, so that you have the correct answer. But I just would like that back, please.
Oh, I have to do that too.
What about you?
Oh, Dallas.
What was I supposed to do here?
It's called.
Okay.
And then just email her about your stuff.
This compound has 2 atoms per 1
Oh.
molecule.
For me, it
So
was a
you-
lot
So I
easier.
thought
The
they-
2 needs to be on the top.
Okay.
Okay. So this is 1 molecule.
See, I didn't.
But Br2 means there are 2 of those atoms in that 1 molecule.
Oh wait,
Just-
so a molecule is bigger than an atom?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought
Atoms
it
are
was
the
the other way.
tiniest things that make things up.
I thought it was the other way.
No. Nope. Now, here's the thing. This conversion is for the smallest particle of this substance, and that is a molecule.
Mm.
But atoms are still smaller than that, so 2 atoms per 1 molecule.
Oh, okay.
That's
That
the
makes
only thing you
sense.
did.
Oh,
That was it.
alright,
Other
thank
than
you.
that, you did well. You're welcome.
I did a lot of like 1 hour, 2 hours. Okay.
Like, I did a lot of stuff. Effort.
I had
So
like
I can't really take
I had like 20 of my hours.
I just bought my
Yeah.
case just to start packing.
I had like 20 in one day because we were just.
I didn't have it all in one
Maybe
day.
it's supposed to.
I had it
I
in
guess
parts.
no, I need my basement now. I guess.
It was like a week span.
So you did like divided 4 hours here, 4 hours there. Something like that.
Yeah, like I went back
Oh, I guess.
after school every day and was there for like.
Because I have a case bigger than
On the
pages.
shot, like the.
Okay.
That one.
That
Or
was
somewhere
not-
else.
no,
It was somewhere.
Yeah.
I guess he just. We didn't
That's
have
fine.
anything.
So
How my base is a little bit. I guess the base is
I need
supposed
like
to be bigger.
a
If you're 7 foot,
Yeah.
the
you need like a
hours,
7'9" base.
the supervisor.
You need to have an instrument.
I feel like
base,
you
but
can
it
remember
has to be
that.
larger one, no matter what.
You just need to.
Because it's how it's
Yeah,
supposed to be
just email
tented, the
about it.
neck is
That's
supposed to be
why-
right next to your ear, I guess. I guess that's how God intended
Who,
it.
like,
You ever
sent
seen
it to you?
the Octobase before?
I don't know.
The Octobase?
Like,
It's like an upright base, but it's larger than like 3 people on top of each
I
other.
don't know. Paul.
Oh,
Just look.
Just be like.
No,
I don't remember.
but like the thing is,
I don't know why.
There really isn't. I'm not upsetting you. Why do you do this?
I just said that I was gonna email them and they're like, why would you do that?
Miss McGrath and Mr. Grant don't over here. They just care that you could like you did it. So just ask the career center lady for a spreadsheet, and she should be sending it. You guys should not be working.
I have to ask me a question.
No, I'm not really worried.
Yeah.
I'm just confused that it was out.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody even has enough space in their brain to remember everything.
I didn't look there.
That's probably where it is.
I'm probably.
Oh, me too. Okay.
Oh, you looking right here. You just gave me a class notification. Okay. It's too much when you say you needed to.
Somebody still has a case.
I don't have any.
No way. Yeah, and I've been like trying to tell them like, oh, I'm sorry. So, hey.
Like, there's
At
links
this point, my
in here.
I have to hunt them down.
I think it's
Wait,
just-
this is observations. There you go.
You're kind of spacey. Hope you feel better. Is it like right now? Is it start right now?
I
Or
have to look at the videos.
is it because I think
I'm so smart.
Maybe your presence is just so strong.
wow. I'm gonna have to leave now. I'll stay. You know what's funny? We had a project we had a board game for English class, and I forgot to. So my group is only going to one today.
Oh my gosh, it's him.
We spent 2 weeks on that, and you forgot it. I'm just gonna look at them and try to. You know, we could like.
You said my show.
I texted my sister. I'm like, can you go home and please get my stuff? And she just looks at me. She just doesn't even know. She doesn't even reply. Look, she didn't even reply. I've been trying to try out.
She's like, girl.
I called her twice, and she's like, nope. She's literally I do this all the time. I do forget it, and I'm like, can you please pick it up? And she's like, do I look like a librarian? I'm like, maybe.
Oh my
If
gosh.
I have one card, you will pick up the ass. So you know the watch. So
Okay.
like, give me
Oh my gosh, she has subtitles.
Yes, he's home anyway. She can't.
Oh, it's not even like the actual.
No, it's on. No, it's the opposite.
Well,
of what you
so what am I supposed to do?
said.
Can I just tell them I lost it? My dog ate it? I don't even have a dog, right? My neighbor's
I
dog
know,
ate
it
it?
doesn't go any farther on this. Scroll. Oh, that's fine.
I mean, your dog ever ate your homework? Your dog ever ate your homework?
No.
I don't even have a dog, so mine does.
No, it's okay.
I'm surprised that your
It's
dog.
not the greatest, I understand.
Are like random.
I subscribe to you.
Well, thank you. I don't know what that actually means, but thank you.
I'll like your
Internet
video.
cloud.
I'll like your, oh.
Wait, so what are you even doing today?
Yeah, that's
Just
just
working
something.
on things. Are you a son?